Sam Ford is a Cherokee freedman.
I'm an African American with Cherokee heritage. My great-grandmother, Phyllis Thompson Pettit, was a slave of the Cherokees.
It's a little-known chapter in American history. The Cherokees were one of 5 Indian tribes whose members owned slaves. So what were those slaves doing for the Cherokee Nation?
They were agricultural laborers. There were also individuals who worked as domestic slaves.
But in 1866, the Cherokees freed their slaves. They signed a treaty guaranteeing that all freedmen and their descendants would, quote, have all the rights of native Cherokees. Today, that treaty is at the center of a controversy involving nearly 3,000 African Americans. On August 22nd, Cherokee Nation kicked them out of the tribe.
The Treaty of 1866 did not give citizenship to the freedmen or their descendants.
Diane Hammonds is the Attorney General for Cherokee Nation.
The heart of the issue is whether or not an Indian tribe can determine who is eligible to be a member of that tribe.
In 2007, Cherokee Nation passed a law requiring proof of Indian blood to be a member. The proof is based on a record that was created a century ago called the Dawes Rolls. The freedmen say the Dawes Rolls are wrong because they were based on how you looked.
If you looked black, they wrote Cherokee freedmen. If you looked not black, they wrote Cherokee.
Many freedmen were of mixed Cherokee and African blood, but on the rolls, they were listed with no Indian blood. Last month, it all went to federal court.
I was restored as a member of the Cherokee Nation.
A settlement has let the freedmen back into the tribe for now. The descendants can vote in the election for the Cherokee chief, but there's no guarantee that they'll get to stay in the tribe. Reporting for In America, Soledad O'Brien, CNN.
Look, I have no problems with anybody who can actually claim that they have indigenous American blood in them. That's perfectly fine. If you got it, you got it. What I have a problem with is all these people who are running around saying that our ancestors didn't come from Africa, we were already here, all of us were already here. You're just as bad as the Hebrew Israelites who have absolutely no proof of your family heritage. If you, unlike my lady Angelina, if you cannot go and grab the paperwork that shows your family lineage, that you come from these people, I don't want to hear my grandmama told me, my granddaddy told me. If you don't have proof, then most likely you came from the transatlantic slave trade. But even if you have proof that you came from there, look at the fact that on that video they told you those 5 civilized tribes became the 5 civilized tribes because they gave up their religion in favor of Christianity. They gave up their dress in favor of Western dress. They gave up their way of life in favor of Western lifestyles. They gave up who they were in order to be considered civilized by the colonists, in order for them to gain land and things of that nature. They quit on who they were in order to satisfy the Caucasian colonizers. But listen to what they said. They said that they bought African slaves. If the transatlantic slave trade wasn't happening in the way that it happened, how in the hell and where in the hell did they buy these slaves? Evidently, they bought them from being shipped across the Atlantic Ocean, the transatlantic slave trade. So that nullifies your whole point of we were already here and we were the slaves, you know, the indigenous people were the slaves. No, the indigenous was buying slaves. Even some bought slaves to be their husbands because war and disease took away all their men. But let's look at another point of the great civilized tribes. Civil War ended in 1864. Slavery was ended. 1865, the last slaves were told of their freedom in Galveston, Texas, Juneteenth. But notice, a full another year goes by before those 5 civilized tribes, and how civil of them, gave up their slavery. What she failed to tell you, the only reason they gave up their slavery is because the U.S. government forced them to give up their slavery, or they would breach the treaty that they had with them for the 5 civilized tribes to have their land. because they were so civilized, they wanted to keep their slaves from Africa. So, y'all have a great day. And stop lying. If you ain't got paperwork, I don't want to hear it. So you have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.